How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God. Age to age he stands, and time is in his hands, beginning and the end, beginning and the end. The Godhead three in one. He's the Father, Spirit, Son, the Lion and the Lamb, the Lion and the Lamb.
In a marriage relationship, never abuse the trust that your wife has given to you or even your husband has given to you. The moment you abuse the trust, it's very difficult, to patch back that broken, the cracked relationship.
Adapt means you're going to learn to adapt to something new. Adopt, you're going to learn to adopt and make it yours personally. And adjust, you're going to learn or need to learn to bring that change into your own lifestyle.
So using machine learning or AI, today the AI able to actually read through and memorize and decipher the entire sets of records from the very beginning of time of these particular patients.
When talking to the person and apologize if you are the cause of the hurt or the pain, apologize and ask for forgiveness, right? And be willing to change.
How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God.
Welcome everyone tonight for our Zoom seminar of Family First Malaysia. We wish everyone would really take our time tonight, and then enjoy this seminar. Over to you, Moonping. Okay. Family First Malaysia is a non-profit organization that emphasizes on the importance of good and holistic family values. So the Family First Malaysia visions is to assist to transform next generation's father, supported by mothers, to build better families, resulting in a better workplace or a better society and a stronger nation. Our mission as a Family First Malaysia is to partner with like-minded organizations to restore, reshape, and release men and women to become better couples and parents in the context of the original marriage with 4F that is focused on family, finance, fitness, and favor. So what we do is to achieve our love for one another in a way that is joyful and peace among our family, to restore broken relationship, reshape the home environment, and release next generation leaders, using home as the starting point of leadership training. So we have family tools. So the following teaches about family tools that we have prepared in Family First. First is noble family vision, blessing of a happy marriage, role of a husband or father, role of a wife or mother, the foundation of a blessed children, and the foundation of the family order. So on the finance side, we want to increase our income or net profit ethically and righteously. We value innovation to double our giving with all bad debts shattered and achieving oneness with money as a family, beginning with fathers and mothers to model better financial stewardship. So in finance, we have some tools here. First is the principle of financial stewardship, God's purpose for money, and or the third is managing money as a couple. The last is financial freedom. So we also want to achieve fitness. In Family First, we talk about strengthening our mental and physical health through the cultivation of a positive mental attitudes, holistic exercise and nutrition, resulting in the high energy and wisdom to achieve things of big and lasting impacts. So on fitness tools, we have cultivating a positive personal habits and growing old graciously. So in short, we want to talk about favor, which stand for faithful, adaptable, versatile, optimistic, understanding, and relationships. So as Family First, we have organized certain events or Zoomina, which you can enjoy looking at our website in the Family First online Facebook. So here is the website. You can screen in the QR code here, and therefore you can look through the past Zoomina we have. Next, please. So we are a non-profit organization and operate on your charities. Your financial donation shall be appreciated to support our operations and function. You may contribute by giving on using the scanning on the QR code shown on the screen, and then you may bank in your contribution or donation to the bank account given on the screen. Thank you. Jumping, all right. Okay, I want to introduce the tonight section, the speakers, both of them called Lawrence Tan, brother Lawrence Tan and sister Florence Ng. Both of them has been married for 46 years and blessed with 3 adult God-loving children and 3 grandchildren. This happy and blessed Tan family would not have materialized if not by the grace of God. Florence has led the women's ministry in her church called Women of Grace, and she is a prayer warrior in her church and partners with her local church. Richard and serve in his church as a registrar of marriage. Serving actively and mentoring couples and family with Family First Malaysia. So I would like to hand this time to our speaker, both Richard Tan and Florence. Over to you, Richard Tan and Florence. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Matthew, for the kind introduction.
Today we are sharing neglects that breaks down marriages. Good evening, everybody. Today, it is an honor for my husband and I to be able to share some of our thoughts. Thank you for taking your time to be with us on this Zoomina.
Yes, another good evening again. Let me kickstart this evening Zoomina by asking this simple question. Do you know that when people get married, it is with the intent that the marriage is forever or till death do us part? I'm sure that is the plan and the goal for everyone who wants to get married. Nobody and no sane couples get married planning that it will not last. The dream to be able to live happily ever after is only found in fairy tales. While you were courting, you cannot bear to live without each other, correct? You want to spend more time with that person, and every good night was a heartache. I felt that way too when we were dating. I cannot remember how many times we said goodnight and goodnight kisses before I finally had to leave. My wife was working in Genting Highlands, and we would call each other on the phone. It was so hard to say goodbye, and we will ask each other to put down the phone first. And the irony is that neither of us want to put down our phone. How many of you experienced that? This is all before marriage.
But the thing about marriage is that simply wishing does not create a happy and long-lasting home. It is not wishing upon a star, but rather a successful marriage, and is hard work of the heart. It requires commitment from both parties and loads of forgiveness. If you want a healthy marriage that stands the test of time, you need to put in the hard work. My husband and I must be willing to forgive each other, and let me tell you that we have forgiven each other so many times that now I understand why God is love, and that love is patient. Without love, I cannot forgive, and to forgive is a conscious choice that I make daily. Forgiveness is a work of the heart. I choose to forgive and not hold on to offenses. I choose to love and not to be angry. I choose to serve and not to be served. The common denominator here is I choose.
Okay. All right. My wife just finished what she has to say. I would say is that the common denominator here is I choose.
Yeah.
You choose what you want your marriage to be like. So therefore, smart spouses who do not want to lose their marriage will try to avoid these neglects that can break down marriages that we will share this evening, because they know how dangerous such neglects are to the health of their marriage. So what are neglects? Neglects are the things you know and need to do, but you did not do them. So if we know what to do and what not to do, and when and what and how to avoid these neglects, we can assure you that you will have the marriage of your dreams, which we believe that's all we want. So what are some of the neglects that can break down marriages?
Number one, neglect of intimacy. Married couples tend to fall into this trap of neglecting time for each other because of the different legitimate things and demands in life. Do you see how I admit that they are legitimate? That is because they are indeed legit. After all, you must tend to the kids, work, and pursue your passions and dreams. It is not easy to wake up early in the morning, wash clothes, prepare breakfast, then get ready to go to work in the morning, come home to cook in the evening, wash up and clean the little house, and then too tired for intimacy. This is already bad before children. With children, it gets worse. However, the trick is to find a way to do all these things and not neglect your friendship with your spouse. Yes, it is challenging, but it is important to sit down with your spouse, if needed, to agree on making time for each other. I'm sure you have heard of this phrase that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You have to set aside a time or a day to spend time with each other. Put aside the houseworks, the cooking, the washing, and 100 other things that distract you or steal you away from each other. Plan and execute, and not just plan. Everything costs something, and what you need to do is to decide which is more valuable to you? Is your marriage more valuable than your time, your clean house, your pile of dirty clothes, or even your screen time? All of us have 24 hours a day, and it's up to us to decide what is more valuable to us. It is a choice we must make.
Now, you must not lose your friendship with your spouse. You should have times when you two catch up, discuss issues, and enjoy each other. Many married couples neglect the aspect of physical intimacy, which is sometimes understandable given the number of things they have to do. Honestly, who can blame a woman for falling asleep immediately after she lays on the bed after all that she had to deal with during the day? Or even a husband after a full day at work? Now, to tell you the truth, I enjoy and feel so relaxed when I lie down on my bed every night. And I can fall asleep as easily too. But I have to consider my wife. Now, if she needs me to hold her or want to be intimate with me, I must deny myself that pleasure and rise to the occasion. At times, it is the other way around when my wife will always be there to meet me. It is a choice we make to please and meet each other's needs.
However, if sex is completely done away with in marriage, it can cause havoc, the worst of which is infidelity. Now, I know you're thinking a man should not immediately resort to cheating because he's not getting some at home. But let me say, it's better that we keep ourselves from fire than test ourselves with it. It is the expectation for
Same expectation.
It is the same expectation for wives. God created sex for man and woman to get to know each other deeply and intimately. So wives should help by ensuring your husband is not missing out in that area. And likewise, husband, you are also to ensure that your wife is not missing out from you and getting it from someone else.
No, the tiredness problem can be solved by actually communicating with your husband that she needs help with domestic work if he's not hands-on. A reasonable husband will adjust once he hears the plea from the wife. Also, she can look into outsourcing some tasks so she is not overwhelmed. The husbands are to be sensitive and not, after each meal, sit down and watch TV or the phone, but rather help by cleaning and washing the plates so the wife can also relax after all the cooking. In our house, my wife does the preparation and cooking. I do the washing even though I have to go to work in the next day. If I do not do it, she will have to do it, and then I do not want to tire her out. I choose to do what I can do to ease the workload. Work together to create intimate moments and time. Now, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 3 to 5 says this. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise, the wife to her husband. Do not deprive each other except perhaps by mutual consent or for a time. Then come together again so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. This passage emphasizes that intimacy is a shared responsibility and that prolonged absence can lead to temptation.
Number 2, constantly criticizing each other. Another thing most married couples are guilty of is criticizing their spouses over every little thing. Many men are not as domesticated and organized as women. So it is expected that she will probably already know how to keep and nurture the home, while the man might not mind the chaos. The woman notices everything in her house, where the man is blind to all that. I've heard some women ask like that, also cannot see? Honestly speaking, men do not notice them. In such a situation, I understand how frustrating it can be when your husband does not know how to do the most basic things, like returning his shoes to the shoe rack, or pick up the dirty clothes, or even fold the clothes.
I too was guilty of that before. My wife used to ask me in the past, you do not see that thing on the floor, or those dirty plates, or dirty clothes? Frankly speaking, I did not do those things while growing up, and that is why I will not notice them. Now, I want to contribute in the house chores as it is our house. I will fold the clothes for her if I see them, and I choose to do it because I have to, not because I have to, but because I want to do it for her. I do it for her because I love her. I want to be a blessing to her. I'm capable of handling all the finances and all the banking works and bills payment. My wife does not concern herself with all this, and she's not well with the computers to do internet banking or e-bank payment. I cannot belittle her for the lack of knowledge of such thing in this age of computers. Even children know how to handle all the computerized stuff, and my wife is not savvy with that. I cannot be quick to criticize her, but I learn to be patient and show her when she forgets. I will have to be patient and tell her all over again. Now, we have had many unpleasant arguments over this in the past, and I learned to stop criticizing her, and she does the same for me. I want to keep the peace at home. Know that despite all this, constantly criticizing or belittling your spouse does no good for your marriage. Nobody wants to feel like they are never good enough, especially in their own home. If you constantly point out what the other party is doing wrong, it can damage his or her self-esteem. Now, over time, it can push him or her away emotionally. Your spouse might stop sharing things with you because he or she fears judgment. It can even lead to losing connection, where he or she starts looking for validation elsewhere. I used to think that if I do not point out what was not working, how will my spouse learn, and assuming that pointing out what was not working will help her grow. But honestly, it just made her feel like she was never good enough. What she needed was appreciation, reassurance, and patience. Not someone keeping score, but someone who had her back. Stop all those last few words of negative comments to prove you're right. Nothing good to say, don't say them. Only say what is good, positive, and encouraging.
Like I said, I understand how frustrating it can get when our spouse misses something you expect him or her to get, especially when you're already stressed from everything else. But turning every little issue into a critique is not healthy at all. Sometimes you just have to swallow your word and not speak out to keep the peace. You want the toothpaste to be closed after use, or your spouse left it open and you have to close it. Close it then. You can make sure an issue out of it and fight, or you can just close it or even ignore it. You can tell once, twice, or even 3 times, but never nag or criticize. Worse is when your husband agreed to do something and after weeks, the things are still left undone. It can be very frustrating, and I understand the desire to shoot. The irony is that we can be patient with our children, but not our spouse. Why?
This is the funny thing about marriage, right? So one more thing is not to get annoyed and show it. You can get annoyed, but do not have to show to your spouse. How would your spouse feel? How would you feel if your spouse did that to you? Just the other day, I changed my jeans for washing in the evening, and in the morning I informed my wife, just in case when the pair of jeans is put in the washing machine, the colors may run and affect the other clothing. She asked me why I did not change yesterday. I changed yesterday, but it was placed in the laundry basket. She showed her annoyance, and her tone of voice was not pleasant. I felt annoyed and wanted to retaliate. I kept quiet for the sake of peace, for I know if I retaliated, another argument would happen and both of us will be unhappy. As it is, I was the only one unhappy, and after prayer, I did not feel annoyed or disturbed anymore. Remember, your spouse can also be annoyed, just as you are annoyed.
Instead, try to approach things with kindness and focus on the positive. The good things your spouse does and the blessings he or she brings into your life. Focus on the strengths and goodness of your spouse and ignore the rest. Encourage your spouse in the areas he or she does well and give him her room to improve gradually in the areas he or she is weak in. Encourage and not nag. Watch the tone of your voice. If you're annoyed, do not express to your spouse. Control it, or best, do not say anything. After that, when you feel better, then you can ask your spouse what you wanted to ask or say. We all need to learn and unlearn, adjust and readjust in any marriage relationship in order to get better. You can either use your words to build or to destroy. You choose. You do not neglect to be kind, generous, and appreciative to your spouse. Do not neglect to see the positive side of your spouse. Ephesians 4, verse 29. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up. Words should uplift, not tear down.
Right, that's correct. So number three neglect is neglect of effective communication. Anytime the subject of marriage or relationship comes up, you will be hard-pressed not to find communication on the list. It is almost becoming a cliche, but things are cliches for a reason. They are true. Therefore, it needs to be repeated that any neglect of effective communication can cause a marriage. Now, another aspect of communication is that every couple, or at least a lot of couples, they talk. But communication is more than just asking each other to pay the bills or what to eat for dinner. It includes these issues, but communication is more about sharing your thoughts and things that matter to you and the both of you. My wife used to tell me, if I cannot share with you, then who can I share with?
It is as easy to assume your partner understands what you're feeling or thinking, but misunderstandings and resentment can build up without open communication. You miss out a real connection when you stop talking or only share surface level conversations. You must be able to talk about everything and never jump to conclusions without getting clarification. When you see something that could cause an issue, ask your spouse about it and give them an opportunity to explain. You should also be transparent and give information without being asked. If you cannot share with your wife, then you know it is not right. Men, never ever think your wife is less knowledgeable than you. They have this keen sixth sense that you can harness to your advantage. The neglect of communication ruins everything because instead of knowing how the other person is feeling, we just assume.
You know, at times when I pray to God for a decision, the answer always comes when I ask my wife about it. I tell God that I will ask my wife, and if she say yes, then it is yes. If she say no, then it's no. This is the best, but we are in agreement. Now, find and learn ways to avoid misunderstanding that builds resentment over time. Do not avoid tough conversation because you do not want conflict or because you may be so caught up in your own thoughts that you forget to share them. Bottling things up does not make problems disappear. It makes them harder to solve later.
On the flip side, poor communication can also mean lashing out in anger without really addressing the root of the issue. It is important to talk openly and listen actively, even when the topic is uncomfortable. Clear, honest communication builds trust and keeps both of you on the same page, avoiding unnecessary misunderstandings and helping your marriage stay solid. In the beginning, you may face difficulties in talking, and most times it could lead to arguments. We have had that many times, and with practice, my husband and I have learned not to lash out at each other. It began with one of us starting talking louder and louder, and then it became a shouting match. I want to be heard, and he wants to be heard. We have learned to stop and pray it if either party gets heated up. We still do have this problem once in a while, but it is less frequent and can talk so much better than before. I tell myself that my husband is not my enemy, but my darling. Hebrews 10:24-25. Let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, encouraging one another. Encouragement requires communication and presence.
Yes. Neglect number 4 is the neglecting of your physical appearance. Neglecting your physical appearance or hygiene might not seem like a big deal, but it can negatively impact your marriage. Life gets busy, I know. Between work, kids, and everything else, it is easy to slip into a routine where you throw on ugly but comfy clothes and skip combing your hair or shave, and for women, the makeup or even a shower just to get through the day. But if you stop making the effort, it can send a message that you're no longer invested in your relationship.
Yes, attraction is more than just physical. And I want to believe your spouse is in love with your heart too. However, physical appearance does play a role in how your husband sees you. Men are moved by what they see. Plus, your husband wants to feel proud of you, just as you want to feel attractive and desirable to him. So, taking the time to care for yourself shows you value yourself and the relationship. Try to maintain a regular self-care routine and dress up regularly to impress your husband. Do not be like the asshole that wear their pajamas to bed and then to the market. Apply perfume to smell good and wear nice clothes. Not luxurious or expensive clothes, but decent and nice. It does not have to be perfect, but a little effort goes a long way.
That's right.
1 Corinthians 6:19, verse 6, 19 to 20. Do you know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies, treating your body well through health, rest, and discipline is a form of worship.
That's right. Number 5, the neglect number 5 is the neglect to compromise. Now, marriages need compromise to survive. And this is because you and your husband are different people, and you will sometimes see the world differently. Of course, you should agree about essential things which should be settled before marriage. But you will not agree about everything, as even twins who share the womb do not agree all the time. So you must both be ready to compromise to accommodate the differing views. Neglecting to do so and always needing to be right can create the rift in your home. If you remain stubborn every time a disagreement arises, your spouse may feel that his or her feeling and perspective do not matter. Now, I was like that in my younger days. Each time my wife and I had an argument, my wife would cry and say, "You are always right, and I'm always wrong." I want to be right, and I will argue. And just because I'm better in expressing myself, I always win the argument. Now, this is not good. I married my wife, and I need to love and cherish her and cannot ignore her feelings too. I cannot let her feel lesser than me. We are equal. So even though I know I may be right, I keep quiet and choose to ignore the argument. It is ignoring the argument and not my wife.
A healthy marriage requires teamwork and finding common ground. Be willing to listen and consider your spouse's point of view, even if you do not completely agree. This is to show respect. Instead of always insisting, let some things go if they do not matter that much. And if they do, talk it through with him or her respectfully until you both find a solution that works for both of you. Or wait for the both of you to cool down or in a better mood, then talk. It is talk, not accusing or questioning. Talking means listening and responding, not reacting. Philippians chapter 2, verse 4. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also the interests of others. Encourages empathy and shared decision making.
Number 6 is the neglect of gratitude. Now, someone I know once told a story about how her husband cooked for her when she was pregnant, and how she could not stomach his cooking as her husband was not the best cook. So she always complained to her friends about how bad the food turned out. An older colleague heard her at work one day and berated her, telling her she was one of the lucky few who had a man willing to cook despite being bad at it. Hearing that, the woman changed her perspective and she started appreciating his effort instead of criticizing it. Slowly, she finds that the food is not that bad after all.
Many women can relate to this woman with the way they focus on the imperfection of a deed instead of the effort that was put into it. The problem with this neglect or of gratitude is that he will soon get discouraged and stop completely. If he is not getting what you want him to get right, be grateful for those he does, no matter how little. Thank him for throwing the trash, cooking the salty food dinner, and paying the bills, and you will see that he's encouraged to do more. It will show him that you see and value him.
So, make it a habit to express your gratitude regularly, and you will likely notice a positive shift in your relationship. My wife and I practice this appreciation attitude. When she prepares breakfast for me in the morning and I collect it, I say, "Sweet, thank you," to her every time. She said thank you to me when I collect the plates to wash and after a meal. It's a habit that we cultivate to be appreciative. We set this example in our homes, and our children and grandchildren see and learn, and they learn to say thank you. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 18, it says, "Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." Gratitude is not just for good times, it is spiritual discipline for every season.
Long-lasting marriages do not just happen. They require work. So if you want to keep your home, consider avoiding these costly neglects that can break down your marriage. Marriage is not just about love. It is about commitment, effort, and loving, especially on hard days. You will not always feel butterflies. There will be days when your partner annoys you, when life feels overwhelming, and when love has to be a choice, not just a feeling. That is where real love begins.
Yes, answer their calls, not because it is a rule, but because it says you still matter to me. When you are together, do not let screens steal your attention. Be present. Look into each other's eyes and listen, even when the days has been long. Spend some time together on purpose. Plan the date nights. Sit and talk without distraction. It does not have to be fancy. It just has to be intentional. Because love dies when time stops being invested. Keep people around you who support healthy love. Stay away from those who tempt you to settle for less or forget what you had. Loyalty does not start in the bedroom. It starts in the mind and in your choices.
Learn to laugh and play together. Even in chaos, find something to smile about. That shared joy becomes your strength when everything else feels uncertain. When you fight, remember this: you are not on opposite teams. You either win together or you lose together. Be kind, even in all that heat of argument. Protect your words, even when you are upset. And please, do not keep score. Marriage is not 50-50, it's 100. Not, I will give if you do. But I will show up fully because I choose this and I chose you. In the end, strong marriages are not made for perfect couples. They are made by two people who stay, grow, and love through it all together.
So in closing, let us share with you 1 Peter 1:22 in the Message Bible. It says this: "Now that you have cleaned up your lives by following the truth, love one another as if your lives depended on it." Start by loving your spouse.
Yes.
It is in the institution of marriage that we learn to love. If you cannot even love your spouse, how are we ever going to live out this command of God to love one another? Learn to love even though when you feel like killing that person, even if you cannot see eye to eye, and even the sight or the mention of the person's name makes your blood boil. You notice I said, learn to love and not fall in love. Once you learn to love, you will fall in love with your spouse again. I find that I love my wife more now than before.
There's no perfect husband and no perfect wife, but you keep believing in each other. There will be plenty of perfect moments in your marriage. Love isn't about always agreeing. It's about growing through the disagreements. It's choosing each other, especially on days when it's hard. It's not the grand gestures, but the daily effort, the quiet support, the shared laughter after a long day. Because at the end of it all, it's not about finding perfection, but building something real together, imperfect but lasting. A relationship means you come together to make each other better, support each other, build each other, believe in each other, be their peace, not their problem. Distance never destroys a marriage, a relationship. Closeness never builds a relationship. It's about the mutual desire to be together that ties two people in everlasting bond. This bond is called love. Perfect relationship is not yet you never get angry, upset, or agitated with each other. It is how fast you resolve and bounce back to normal.
God says love. Most of us have no problem loving our girlfriends or boyfriends or fiancé. But after a couple of years of marriage, where has the love gone? The main reason is because we have taken our spouse for granted. Love your spouse despite of you think you can fill in the blanks. Then we can become the living word of God.
If you find that you have some of these neglects in your relationship with a spouse, it is never too late to make a choice to change. With men, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. Talk to God and tell Him what you want to change, and God will help you. Remember, it is what you want to change and not what you want your spouse to change. It begins with me.
You know that a real relationship has fights, has trust, has faith, has tears, has hurt, has sweet smiles, has genuine laughter, has weird, stupid, unnecessary arguments, has patience, has communication, has secrets of each other, has jealousy, and most important, has love. We pray that you will accept this truth and invest it in your life and relationship. Every test in our lives can make us better or bitter. Every problem comes to us to either break us or mold us. The choice is ours to make as to whether we become a victim or a victor. May your marriage grow stronger and stronger, better and better every day with the Lord.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for your kindness and your patience in sharing with us. I pass this time back to Brother Matthew.
Wow, thank you so much, Brother Richard and Sister Florence, for your enlightening speech on the marriage, which we need, every one of us need to take care of. Do not allow neglects to break down our marriage. Is truly very enlightening indeed tonight. So I would like to open this time for Q&A. If any one of us would like to ask any questions to our both speakers, please put it down in the chat box. Put it down in the chat box and someone will be able to read it out and answer your question in the most appropriate way. Don't be shy, you just need to type it up and we will try to, the speaker will try to answer as much as possible. If not, let me start the ball rolling tonight. So, Brother Richard and Sister Florence, if there is any argument between a loving couple, how shall we actually, being a wife, how shall she actually respond to this so that the husband will be able to cool down and vice versa? And how the husband shall be able to respond to the grumbling wife, so to speak, in order the argument will be able to brought down to manageable level. Which one you should be able to start first, and how shall we address one another in the heated argument? Over to you, please.
Yeah, that's a very pertinent question because a lot of couples have this issue, and we have been asked this question many times. Normally, always in any argument, both are right, both are wrong. Because you think you are right, that's why you argue. And the other party thinks you are wrong, and that's why she argues. So both are right and both are wrong. Actually, say what you like is, you are not right, you are not wrong. The question is, the person you're arguing with is not your enemy. It's supposed to be your spouse, your closest ally, your best friend. So what you need to do is, why want to argue? What's wrong being wrong? And giving up the right to be wrong, to be right. Sometimes, as I say, we have said it earlier, sometimes I prefer to be wrong than to be right and have peace in my home. When you cool down, then you can talk and rationalize out. Because at the peak of argument, both of you wants to win and both of you are not going to give in. So the best thing is cool down.
Have your own space.
Have your own space and pray. Ask God, God, am I wrong in this? Let's see what God tells you. Many times, sometimes when I say, God, I think I'm not wrong. My wife is wrong. And God will show me something, and I say, and my heart is being pierced. Say, yeah, I should not be that kind of idiot. And go back and apologize. Yeah, God never fails. But the problem is when we are in that kind of mood, we won't want to talk to God because we feel bad.
Or still angry.
And still angry. And that's the reason why. So the only way they do is, if we can go out of the room or go somewhere, don't go out the house, go out the room. Don't drive the car out in your anger or this thing, or go out for a walk in your anger. You may go out for a walk and you never come back. So what's going to happen? Go out the room. Give yourself some time, go in the toilet and sit down and then talk to God and see what God says. And God will help you. I mean, this has helped us before. And my wife has also said that. Somebody asked, God, why like that? And then God will answer our prayers.
Well, I see. I didn't know that we shouldn't go out for a house for a 5 minutes, 10 minutes walk. It will help us to cool down our emotion. What do you think about that?
Actually, that's the easy way out is to go out. But you see, when you walk out, you don't come back, what happened? What makes you sure you will come back? Life is so short. You go out, get banged, accident. That's what happened. You regret for the rest of your life because you are walking out in anger. And when you are out in anger and frustration, your sense of surrounding is not that strong. You try driving when you are in anger, you try to be more aggressive and more careless. I was like that. When I was angry and can't remember my wife, I would speak. I don't know why. So this is something very dangerous.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
So it's just go out, go to the bathroom, lock yourself in the bathroom. It's okay. No harm. Or the bedroom or wherever it is, where you find yourself can be alone. Then let God speak to you.
I see. Well, that's great. That's a good answer.
Hope that helps you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I'm not sure anyone else like to ask any questions. We have some guests here tonight. So we are trying to help one another in our marriage. We understand that our marriage is never perfect. We come from different background and different sort of brokenness in our life before we got married. So we need to understand that our background, our own life probably was in a mess before we got married.
Yeah.
So if we got to understand this, because of this understanding, we got to give way to one another, and in a way, bearing one another, either someone, so to speak, long suffering. We have to go through some kind of long suffering. But whatever it is, we put together, unite together for the sake of love and peace in the
Yep.
family. Isn't that
That's
true?
That's
all
right. Yeah, because you see, we have baggages, all of us.
Yeah.
And there's another topic we like to talk on is baggages that ruins marriages. Because when you come together, you bring your baggages along to the marriage. So how are you going to remove all these baggages, and how to find out these baggages, and how to determine what are the baggages that you need to throw away?
Yes.
Unless your spouse can accept your baggage, if not, then you have a problem. And that is the problem.
Yeah. So anyone else like to ask, say
Learning to live
anything?
in peace. Yeah, learning to live in peace with each other is a very important thing.
Yeah. So Pastor Philip, would you like to contribute anything in the marriage life, which you probably can share something in your own experience to us? We can learn something from you even tonight.
Okay, unmute.
You have to unmute first, Pastor Philip.
You can unmute me.
Oh, he's muted.
Oh, yeah.
Oops.
The
Yeah.
chairman, okay, right. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I really caught me, it's not what I'm going to share, but what I received was that never drive out or walk out of the house when you're still angry. I think that really speaks a lot, because I mean, like, oh my goodness, every time I get onto the flight, whenever we are traveling, the last words I will always send this WhatsApp to our family group and say, I love you all, I'm going to switch off the phone. I love you all. See you all when I get back. Because what I would want them to hear will be the last words that, if I don't make it back home, the last words was that Daddy said he loves us,
Yeah.
So can you imagine, we're just driving out in all those anger, and oh my goodness, if something happens and we end up serious, or actually, I mean, nowadays death is all around us. Oh my goodness, and then you come back, the last words or last reaction is that we have left the house in anger. I think this is a very, very, very important and a key message that that we want to carry this on with us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Pastor Philip. I would like to ask any guests among us would like to ask anything or contribute anything, just type it up in the chat box so that we can share our experience or knowledge with one another, and we will appreciate one another better in marriage, in friendship.
Matthew, okay, I'd like to input something about neglect can be also due to focusing too much on the children. Normally, wives, mothers always will, they are more focused on the children and they forget about their husband. And because of this, we have issues of this coming up. I remember the one time we have Family First, we do have a kind of couples retreat, and we play a kind of like a game, to discover about what are the setbacks now, what are the things that we have neglect each other. And sure enough, we have a humorous incident of that the wife could not even recognize the feet of the husband. Perhaps feet is a bit difficult in the sense that I know that, not many of us like to look down. Yeah, we are prideful people. We always look up and seldom look down. And this part that I find it's very meaningful, because we make the couples, to go through this, to be awareness, to be aware of what is happening. And the husband will take out the shoes and the socks and just put it at the center, and then go behind the curtain. So what you see is only the feet of the man. And the wife from outside, they will come in, and then they will they very easy. Most of them, they know their shoes. They know the shoes that belongs to the, with the socks inside the shoes, but they can recognize the shoes of the husbands. But when it comes to pair up with the feet, we have two ladies putting the shoes on the wrong place. And the worst thing is, one of the husband feet have two pairs of shoes. And we had to ask them, make sure, okay? Think about it, ponder, make sure, take your time to recognize. But yet, this pair of shoes, after that, one of them just remove it and got it right, and the one that is with the other pair was down there, and then the end, the wife realized that she didn't even recognize the husband the feet. So when the curtain was drawn, it was quite devastating. But we thought that we are acting too much on this thing. But then the next morning, they share, they say they have a very good talk, and the wife say, because the children the time young, and also one of the boys have some hearing problem. That's why they left Singapore and went to Perth, to stay. And because of this, she spent so much time on to the son, she forget a lot of things about the husband. I mean, she neglect the husband's needs, And they really make up that night. And the next morning they share. And today they are, they also, in a way, like part of our family first in Perth, this under our discipleship. And we also get, Dr. Tan also shared gospel with them earlier, but they haven't accepted. But because of this incident, they decided to want to receive Christ, and they were actually baptized, and they received Christ. After the meeting is over, we brought them to Dato Jason's house to baptize them. So what I'm trying to say is that neglect, most of ladies, very important. We tend to forget. We always focus too much on the children. At the end of the day, you have husband and wife, sometimes become strangers. When the children grow up big already, there's no third party that they will use as a middle person. You know what I mean? So much so they, when the children are no longer with them because maybe they go to university, boarding school, and then or they are already grown up, they have the life of their own, or maybe they work in another town, they no longer stay with the parents, and the couple don't have nothing to say to each other, become strangers in the house. And I can tell you there are a lot of cases like that. Outside people recognize them as couple, married couple, but in private, in their own personal time, their personal space. They no longer share, the intimacy anymore. Each one will go different way, and some of them different rooms, and that's very sad. So what I'm trying to emphasize is that, because of too much focus on the wrong issue of life, you will end up that way. So this is my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sister Dinky, for your sharing the experience. I understand that. You see, woman has a tendency to take care of the children more than taking care of the husband in certain times, not throughout all the time. But the husband also have this tendency to spend more time at work, but not spending more time with his wife. Generally, this is true. I'm one of the example. Spend more time at work than spend more time for the family during my younger days. Now I look back with such a regrets or feel sorry for myself. Why am I making such a mistake? So at the time, probably you were thinking making more money, but money is not the real goal in life, in marriage. So now I understand, since about 5, 6 years ago, I knew this is something need to be corrected and need to be changed. So I took the first step by stopping or resigning from my work. So money is not my goal from that day onward, but family and including my wife and my children's, they are the main goal in life. Thank you.
Well said.
Very good.
It should be that way.
I'm not sure any guests, or may I ask Anthony or Elsie or whoever, Joa or Sister Sally, you like to ask anything verbally, you can ask or type it out in the chat box. We have another 5-10 minutes. Otherwise, I pass a minute to our chairman, Dr. Tan Teck Seng. You may ask last 1 or 2 questions.
It's from Malaysia. Yes, we are.
Elsie, we are all from Malaysia. Elsie, do you have any particular things of concern, whether we are from Malaysia?
She's not from Malaysia.
Okay, if there is no question asked, I would like to pass this time back to our chairman, Chairman of Family First Malaysia, Dr. Tan Teck Seng. Over to you, Dr. Tan.
Thank you, Matthew. Indeed, we are seeing that hearing, so much of, Richard and Florence, they make so much preparation tonight. In fact, seeing that your slides, especially also the materials here you have gathered to talk about these neglects that actually cause a breakdown in marriages. Now, I think that most of us realize, because this is one of the silent, actually, destroyers in our marriages. And very often that we just, take it for granted and let time pass. So ultimately, you realize that once you reach an age where your children all grow up, then you realize that you don't need each other anymore, right? And there is always a tendency now that there is a tendency of divorces. Those couples after their age of 60, and this is actually becoming more and more rampant. Okay, so that's why it is important that after they are 60, that means all the children are grown up, and they begin to feel so lonely, and they find that they have nothing to talk about to their husbands, because all these years they have been sort of the spouse has been neglected or vice versa. Okay. So as a result of which that you can see that then they decided just to call it off. Okay. Now it's quite sad, especially after you have been married for so many years and then also you have children and grandchildren and you decided to call it off your marriage, after building for so many years. It's just like building a house, after you build a house and then suddenly you demolish the whole house again, right? So it's quite a waste. So anyway, I think that the tonight's session is very good. So you'll be those people who actually come into our this website, they should be able to also listen, for the future reference. Use this, the different aspects of neglects, so that they will be able to be more mindful, what to look for actually, especially in our this journey through our relationship. Okay, so thank you so much, Richard and Florence, and also thank you, Matthew and Pixing, to come and moderate tonight's session. So I want to just say a word of prayer, and then now we can all of us take a group picture. Okay, Father, we want to thank you tonight. Thank you, the Lord, that you have sent Richard and Florence to bless us with this topic of the neglects that breaks down our this marriage relationship. So, Father, I believe that, Lord, that though that there are not many people that come online to listen, but I believe that they will log into our website and listen to the message tonight. So let this message speak to them, and also that will be provide them some handles how to actually go about avoiding all these neglects in their marriages, so that this will also in a way to strengthen their marriage and also build a happy relationship. So we want to thank you for tonight. Thank you for each and everyone who comes on to join us. And we ask you, Lord, to be with them and bless them, and also bless them with a wonderful evening. And they will rest well. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen.